person in the presidency. And we need to be very, very aware that we cannot relent. We cannot relent because Kenyans are dying. If they are not going to be dying through protests, if they are not going to be dying because of hunger, Kenyans are going to be dying because they cannot access medical services.
Hello guys, it's your girl Patience Status. Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscription box and put on the notification bell so that every time I post a new video, you know I'm the queen of one and gossip. So welcome to today's video. Don't forget to like and leave a comment in the comment section.
They managed to actually touch on the concerns of Kenyans in general. So we need to give a clap to the fourth estate. Because the fourth estate, which entails the media, plays a vital role in helping enforce and actually create awareness that the voices of the people, the voices of the younger generations of this country are heard. They had a medium, they had an opportunity to talk to Ruto, and they used that opportunity not just well, but they used it responsibly. They aired out the concern, they were precise, they were up to point, they were apt, they were very knowledgeable, and they were relevant. So for that, I will give them claps. And if possible, I love Linus Kaikai. I have always loved Linus Kaikai. I think he's a very brilliant man, and I love it. And that is what journalism entails. So we give credit where it's due. Journalism requires research. Journalism requires knowledge. Journalism requires you being in touch with what is happening today. So we give credit where it's due. Now, I want to talk about Ruto's speech and the answers that he gave. I'm gonna just focus on the things that he was trying to throw out. First, guys, I wanna tell you that Ruto has no remorse. I'm just going to analyze his character first before I answer some questions. This is my analysis of the whole thing. Number one, he has no remorse. He feels nothing for the children and the women and the men that died during the protests. He has nothing. He feels nothing. Then he does not want the police who actually participated in extrajudicial killings to be held responsible for what they did. He thinks that the police should also be defended and should be protected while they were actually shooting on unarmed citizens who were practicing their democratic rights, picketing, protesting, petitioning, and actually going to the streets to actually ask questions to a government that is harming its citizens is the right of every Kenyan. There is no need for the police to use force on people who are protesting on the streets of Kenya. The Constitution gives us that right. So Ruto did not want to speak directly. He also did not answer the questions about accountability, especially when the case in point, that child that was highlighted that had bullets, almost 8 bullets shot into them. Ruto evaded that question. He made sure he started saying the way citizens went into Ngong forest and took, I don't know, the gun from police, and maybe those citizens are the ones. This is a person that hates accountability. This is a person that does not take responsibility for the actions of a police, a force that he is the commander-in-chief. He needs to take action and accountability. He refuses to accept that fact. Now, all the questions that he was asked, he never really answered anything precisely. He dodged every question. He never went directly to answer his question. But now I'm going to talk about 3 major things which I think Kenyans should be aware of. Number one, Ruto talked about the debt that Kenya has. And he talked about paying 1 trillion in salaries. Guys, we are in a very dark place. If a president can be using the earnings for money that we are getting from taxes to actually pay salaries in the tune of 1 million trillion. Do you guys realize how sick that is? Ruto, instead of coming to deliberate and talk about industrialization in the county levels so that revenue comes in, he still talks about debts and talks about financial budgets without talking about the revenue that is coming in from the counties. Kenya is a county that is run and is divided into 47 counties. We need to have the counties bringing in money. We don't need taxes from Kenyans being given back to the counties. Why can't the counties feed themselves? We need counties bringing in revenue. Can we have a budget where we are being told how much each and every county is bringing? Can we see the differences in revenue from the county levels? If we are talking about farming and we are talking about industrialization, Ruto is so obsessed with potatoes. Ruto is so obsessed with housing. He talks about potatoes all the time, and China. He talks about housing like a lunatic. That is not the only thing that Kenyans think about. That is not the only thing that we can produce. We have the Western Kenya regions that produces things that are different. We have we have fish industries in Kenya. We have meat. There are people who actually have meat, cattle, people who are actually doing other things apart from potatoes. We have the tea in Kericho. Why are we not talking about industrialization in terms of debt ceilings and money that we need to bring into our country? This is a man that does not understand economics. This is a man that does not understand how to actually beat the debt that Kenya has. He talks about paying workers more money to the tune of trillions, yet he also uses about a half of the revenue we get to pay other debts that are not in the country. Guys, if you have 3 trillion and you have industries that are struggling that can bring in revenue, what do? Do you pay your debt, or you ask for more time to pay the debt by wazungus and you pump in money to the industries in Kenya so that we can generate more money? You guys, do you understand what I'm saying? We have a president that is willing to pay debt to wazungus that depleted our economy, depleted our country and our resources because we borrowed from them. But he cannot take the same money to pump into our industry so that we can have more revenue. Because if Ruto takes 1 trillion or 2 trillion Kenya shillings and puts it into the countries that are industrious, we have the tea industries, we have sugarcane industry, we have people who are doing farming, nyama, textile. Guys, if this money is put in our industries at the county level with proper organization, this money is going to be able to bring back revenue where this money can actually pay off the debt that we have while also creating employment and improving the livelihoods of Kenyans. Why is this president so obsessed with paying debt to white people? What for? And TikTok, please, this live does not contain any harassment. I'm talking about our country and corruption in my country, Kenya. I'm talking about neocolonialism and why it's important that we have these conversations. What is driving Ruto in his head today is neocolonialism. Let me tell you guys, that finance bill was driven by Ruto's desire to please the West. Ruto is so obsessed with pleasing the West. He wants to make sure that people who want to see him as a good person because they are bringing in money that is driving us into debt. Ruto is so obsessed with making sure America sees Kenya in a good way or the Europe sees us in a good way. He doesn't care about us. That's why he keeps borrowing and pleasing these people. The colonial masters, they are still here with us. Neocolonialism at its best. This man is willing to pay a debt kwa watu weupe na madaktari wetu. Our doctors are at home. This man is willing to pay a debt to people who ensured that we are in this place while we have doctors at home, we have clinical officers at home, we have our whole medical sector going down. But he's willing to pay 2 trillion debt out of our revenue. Guys, come on. We have a sick person in the presidency. And we need to be very, very aware that we cannot relent. We cannot relent because Kenyans are dying. If they are not going to be dying through protests, if they are not going to be dying because of hunger, Kenyans are going to be dying because they cannot access medical services. Mere medical services. The infant mortality rate, yani, you guys, maternal deaths, HIV prevalence, it has doubled since this man went into office. This man has been in office only for 2 years. And our country is crippled in debt. This man is insane. Now, this man talks about budget cuts in his office and everything else, that he's gonna scrape off the first lady, I don't know which lady office, and that his salaries and everything. Listen, guys, I'm gonna tell you for a fact. There is no freaking way that Ruto is going to take away salaries of members of parliament without legislation. He can't. There is no salary this man is going to cut without legislation. And you guys understand the parliamentarians we have today, those are the ones who are perfectly okay with those salaries. How are they going to pass that legislation? Muniambie, if you want to know you're dealing with a liar. You mean that parliamentarians that wanted to vote yes for more taxes are now going to vote yes for their salaries to be cut? Chekesha. You guys, we are dealing with a dictator. Think about it. It's not going to happen. Let me tell you what is happening now. There have been abductions in our country. The world needs to know that the Kenyan government is abducting people. People are being abducted in their homes. The police is using force to actually eliminate the youth that are raising concerns about the dictatorship in this country. And this is what we need to do as the people in the diaspora, because a lot of Kenyans are asking what the people in the diaspora are doing. If you are in the diaspora, what you need to do is put your money in the Law Society of Kenya, put your money in the human rights organizations in Kenya. Please donate to those organizations in Kenya so that they can represent the Kenyans that are being held hostage and are being arrested by the police unlawfully. We need these people protected. These organizations depend on funding. And please, watu weupe, watu wa America, all these Americans that are climbing X-Space, Twitter, to pretend that they care about Kenyans. If you are in America, you are an American. Na we ni mtu mweupe, the white people climbing those spaces and joining our journalists and are claiming that they care about Kenyans. Put your money in the organizations that have been helping the activists on the ground. Put your money into the organizations that have been saving the lives of the activists and standing in to represent them in court. The activists that have been using the safe houses to protect real activists. And for that, nawambia na mukae rada nimewambia. I have been in activism long enough. Be very wary of Boniface Mwangi. Boniface Mwangi is a government stooge. He works for every government in Kenya. Beware of Boniface Mwangi. Oh, did not say I did not tell you. Boniface Mwangi is the activist that is being used by Kenyan governments to look good in the eyes of the international community. That is why Boniface Mwangi never gets killed. That is why Boniface Mwangi family is always flying out. They are always safe. Nothing ever happens to him while he insults the government and put posts to insult everybody else in the government. He is the only activist in Kenya that has never, ever been eliminated. neither has his family been harmed, because he earns and eats with the same government. And I've told you guys, because I have been in protests with this man and I know how he operates. Then he goes to take pictures. He is the only person that is being escorted with a huge convoy of KDF and Kenya police. He takes these pictures, then he applies for funding to talk about the situation in Kenya. Guys, we must be aware of the traitors amongst us. You must be aware. This is a man that has benefited on the back of protesters in Kenya. While protesters die each and every day, protesters get eliminated. People get to disappear in Kenya. He is the only one that is always being protected in Kenya. Boniface Mwangi eats with the government in place. And I've told you, he ate with Uhuru's government, he is eating with Ruto's government, and he will continue to eat on your backs. What he does, he stays on the forefront to take pictures, anapiga mapicha, anachukua mavideo, na yeye ndio huwa anajisalimisha kila siku kwa serikali na hawawi. Mukue rada, nimewambia. That was just a by the way. This government depends on international funding, and for it to get the money from international funding, it has to look good in the eyes of human rights internationally. And that is why Boniface Mwangi keeps on surviving. Nimesema, if he likes, he can take me to court. I don't care. Kwani ni kesho. Now, I want to tell you what is going to happen to Kenya, because Ruto was asked a very clear question. He was told that, what are you going to do about the voices of the dissenting voices of the youth? What are you going to do about it? What can you do so that you can satisfy the needs and the calls of the youths on the ground? Ruto refused to answer that question. He claimed that the constitution does not provide anything. Listen, you are mad. Mr. President, you mean that if you die today, we cannot have a president? Ruto, you think that if you leave office today, Kenya will not move? Kenya will survive without you. If you drop dead today, Ruto, Kenya will move. The constitution has a provision for you to actually leave office. That is why we, the people, have the power. We have the sovereignty, we have the power, and we are constitutionally protected, so that we can make sure we can recall the MPs. We can actually recall all MPs home to a point that you are going to be forced to dissolve parliament. So don't pretend that you know the constitution more than us. We understand the constitution and what it entails. You can leave the office by resignation. When the people that you have been tasked to protect are no longer trusting you, are no longer satisfied with your work, the option you have is to resign. That is what you need to do. As a president, you cannot force us to like you. You cannot force us to be your subjects. We put you in office. We can also remove you from that same office. And I want to tell you, Ruto, very clearly, so that you can get it in your head. The right to protest, the right to revolt, the right to actually even ban can happen when people are dissatisfied. Revolutions do not come when people are laughing. You don't fight an oppressive regime. You don't fight anarchy with smiles. You don't. Anarchy is fought with force. What you are doing is that you are taking away the livelihoods of Kenyans from them. You are making Kenyans homeless. You are rendering Kenyans not able to have 3 square meals a day. So you think we are going to approach you politely? No way. There is no room for conversation with Ruto. Ruto must go. There should be no room for conversation. There has been room for conversation for the past 2 years. This man today showed me today what I saw from him. He even said that the members of parliament that voted yes have the best interest of Kenyans at heart, which means this man is not genuine about withdrawing the finance bill. He doesn't care. He said that the MPs that voted yes have our interest at heart. How can a man that wants to tax sanitary towels and tax diapers say that they have the interest at heart? How can a man that wants to give his wife 600 billion per year say that he has our interest at heart? How can a man who wants to tax digital spaces where the youth depend on doing their business today. He wants to tax digital spaces where we use TikTok, Facebook to do our business as the youth. Say that he has our interest today. How can a man who wants to make sure when you send 1,000 Kenya shillings, you're going to be charged almost 400 Kenya shillings, say that he has our interest today? How can a man who wants to make sure we cannot even acquire land in Kenya say he has our interest today? How can a man who makes sure that he's creating divisions by anatengeneza vipengele kuu katika hiyo finance bill ya kusema ya kwamba as a family people should pay tax individually, wife and husband individual? What the fuck? Kenyans, I've told you, the revolution must continue. We will not be silenced, and we have the provisions by constitution for us to push for this man to go home. He needs to go home. Ruto needs to go home. And the fact that Ruto is talking about conversation, my friend, is too late. We do not need conversation. What we need is legislation and you to resign, period. When you resign, we are going to create a pathway where we can actually have a new election under a new electoral system that is going to ensure we have people who have our interests at heart be put in power. We don't need you in that space. You are no longer going to be our mouthpiece because you don't care about us. A president is a custodian of his people. A president is supposed to speak with one voice. A president cannot be tribal. A president cannot be creating anarchy. A president cannot be pro-abduction. A president must be able to call out the police, of which he is the commander-in-chief of armed forces. And for that, I will say, guys, the human rights situation in Kenya is horrible today. We are having people being abducted. We are having people disappearing, and we cannot be silent. We shall not be silenced. This same Ruto is forgetting that because of the silence and the anarchy that happened when the 2007 elections, this man was taken to the highest court in the world, ICC. And the same Ruto and his government cronies made sure that in 2013, Kenya became the first country to withdraw from the ICC. Kenya withdrew from the ICC. And that has put us as Kenyans in a very difficult situation. Which court are we going to go to when we talk about the violation and the brutality of human rights in Kenya today? Who are we going to go to? We are no longer in the ICC. Who is going to be representing us? He has swallowed everything. Now this same man that talked about the ICC being used by white people to actually cajole black people, yeye mwenyewe leo anaenda kwa watu weupe kila siku kuomba pesa. Alafu anataka sisi pigiwe ushuru big number so awalipe wale na interest. Fungueni macho jamani wa Kenya. Open your eyes. This man is an American and European puppet. Nimewaambia huyu mtu ni puppet ya watu weupe. Nimesema hapa na mjue hivyo because everything anafanya he's doing to the interest of hao watu. Hiyo ndo kitu anafanya. Na mkue hivyo, mkue rada na mjue hivyo. Ati amekubali kulipa deni ya watu weupe. Na walimu wanapata 20,000. Watu wako nyumbani. Wanawake wanakufa wakienda kuzaa. Watoto wanakufa. Watu hawezi wakapata madawa ya ukimwi kwa sababu Ruto analipa inchi za watu weupe. We need to be very aware of what is happening in Kenya, guys. There is the violation of human rights in Kenya at its highest level. People have disappeared in Kenya. People continue to disappear in Kenya. Extrajudicial killings are ensuing in Kenya. Abductions are ensuing in Kenya. We need to understand that it's important for us to speak out, and we need to come out in our largest numbers. We need to use our spaces to call out our government. We need to call out this government. And for us who are in the diaspora, we need to put our money in the organizations in Kenya that are helping our brothers and sisters that have been held in custody unlawfully, our brothers and sisters that are trying to find their loved ones. And please, Kenyans, all of you in large numbers, when you know there is a hospital that needs people, they need blood, go and donate blood. Go and donate blood for our brothers and sisters. We do not have another country, guys. We don't have another country. People died for us to be able to speak the way we are doing it today. Those who have died in this revolution, we will not forget them. Those are our heroes. We will forever remember them. But do not be afraid. Do not be relentless. Those in the diaspora, put in your money in the Law Society of Kenya. Give money to those organizations so that they can represent our sons and daughters in court. Those of you who have the money, those who are in the ground, make sure you create safe spaces for the people who are homeless, people who do not have places, those who have been raided in their homes. Protect each other. We must be our sister's keeper. We cannot relent. Kenya is going down to the dogs. We have no choice but to keep fighting anarchy. This man is a dictator. Ruto is a dictator. Ruto is a dictator. He is a dictator when he went to office. He is a dictator today. He will be a dictator tomorrow. And there is no peaceful way of removing dictators in office. There will be no peace when we are removing a dictator in office. And you cannot have a conversations with a man that is willing to put a gun on an 8-year-old. We are not going to be silenced. Nime mute. Those who want to continue talking wonge.
Hey, Diana. Umemaliza, umegonga ndipo. Let me tell you, Mimi, all I've heard from Ruto, he came to like sanitize the police for killing people. Alikuwa tu the word criminal, the rule of law, blah, blah, blah. My flowers tonight goes to Linus Kaikai, Eric Latif, na Joe Ageo. And I hope they'll be safe after this because Ruto explodes at any given moment. So for Ruto, FU times 10. Diana, umemaliza kila kitu. Ruto must go. That is the slogan. Bado tunazidi, aluta continua. And to the fallen soldiers, you are our heroes. Without them, hatungekuwa tumefika mahali tuko. We need a revolution and the revolution must continue until Ruto atoke kwa kiti.
Diana, I also commend mute kwanza. Okay, I would like to commend the people to the counties. That is very unconstitutional. So I just this is a very emotional day. Like ningesema vitu vingi sana, but I'm really emotional. Like I can't believe we actually voted him in, and he should also make sure he makes an electoral board as early as now, asitucheleweshe, because in case of anything we will want new elections. That's all I wanted to say.
There's something I want to touch about accountability. Today while he was speaking, he evaded every question, and in his response, he was responding to the questions that he was forming in his mind. With his obsession towards finance bill, potatoes, I mean, he's not even answering the question that he was being asked. Now, when we talk about accountability, first, UAE donated 15 USD dollars, that is 2 billion shillings on 10th mwezi wa tano 2024. India gave 1 million and European Union gave 500,000. I have never heard him talk about what the money did, because eventually after a donation, like 2 days, maji iliisha, we had no floods again, and we cannot really see any accountability towards that. When any question that is directed to him is very rude, akona kiburi sana, we can all see that. He's rude and is sort of anatuma threats that are indirect. And today, if you ask me, he's not responded to any questions. I have not seen him being remorseful to our fallen soldiers. I would like to send my condolences to the families that waliachwa na watoto wao wenye walikuwa wanapigania uhuru wenye tunataka right now. What I would urge everyone is that we join hands. We cannot relent at this period. Wenye wanajaribu kununuliwa, kindly stop that. This is a divide and rule. Those wenye wanajitolea that they are the leaders of Gen Z, kindly stop. Mr. Masaki, I'm calling you up today. Please, no one elected you. If you are youth leader, when youth leader wa URP and not Nairobi as a whole, kindly stop that shit. Hakuna mtu anatambua hiyo. Kindly stop. So Mr. President, we are coming. We will not relent and we are on the course na tuwachi. Thank you.
Did he just say there was no a matter of land in the finance? Alisema there was no matter of land in the finance. He said there was no matter of land in the finance bill 2024. Is it that we were reading the wrong thing on the matter as he was reading the right thing?
Listen,
this is the biggest question.
Listen, he hasn't even read that thing. He has his advisors. Remember, he has advisors that are being paid, that are getting almost 1.9 million Kenya shillings in salaries each month. Advisors, people who read things for him. Now listen, the sickest bit of what Ruto said today, when he was almost concluding, is that he said that, and even gave an example with Korea, and he said that Koreans, when they were having economic difficulties, Koreans decided to contribute gold to actually save their country from going down economically. Guys, this man is sick. The first thing he needs to think about is that where does he come from, his family, his lineage, and what does he own? As Ruto, if he wants people to actually remove their property to help Kenya not to sink into an economic situation that is dire, Ruto needs to donate all the land that he has. Ruto needs to give everything that he has acquired. He should be doing it by example. The first thing he needs to do is not to cut his salaries, because those salaries are our taxes. What he needs to do is to give out the land that he acquired through corruption and the properties that he has to help Kenya get out of the debt that he said. Because he's chosen to talk about Korea and the gold that Koreans give to help their country. This man is sick, man. You guys, hata sijui niseme nini. Endelea nani, Grace.
So what he should do, what he should be doing now is to cut off it's to remove all the ghost workers from those days. Remove completely from the payroll. Then what else? Scrap those unnecessary offices. He has too many offices. He should just scrap all those offices. And then another we should be terming corruption completely. Then from there, at least now we can sit and continue as a country. With those unnecessary offices, then we are not moving anywhere. What is the work of a CAS? CAS, seriously.
Let me tell you guys.
What is the role of a CAS?
Before you talk about the roles, and now that you talk about accountability when it comes to salaries and everything, let's be honest here. I've told you and I'm repeating it again. There is no salary for any member of parliament that's going to be cut without legislation. There are no budget cuts for any place that is going to happen without legislation from parliament. Now, I want to talk about the women rep position and the other positions that people have talked about. Listen, can we go back in history, excuse me, and look at why we needed the women rep position? Why we needed the women rep position and why we had the 2/3 gender rule. Guys, we had a problem in our parliament where we lacked representation from women. there was the dominance by men, and that did not work for us when we talked about issues that were affecting women directly, that in turn affect the country, because women are actually a backbone in this society of ours is Kenya. The 2/3 gender rule was supposed to create a balance by ensuring a pathway where women would get a seat in parliament to help in policy making and legislation, so that we have better laws that can protect the rights of women and children. That is why we needed the 2/3 gender rule. That is why those positions were created. Let's not forget that. Now, today, if we are going to be scraping that, no, if we are going to be scraping that, then the basis has to be, it's because we have an electoral system that is free and fair and is not oppressive to women when they vie. That is the only basis that we can actually scrape these special seats for women. That is why they were created, because we lacked that representation. It is 10 times harder for a woman to vie and become a member of parliament compared to a man in Kenya. So let us not also forget those realities, because they exist and it is the truth.
I think where they need to make the cut is the corruption. Corruption is the one that is killing us. And then they also have to cut these unnecessary benefits. MPs wanapata sijui what. They also need to cut on that, because it's very unrealistic. And then corruption, once they cap into that, kutakuwa much better. And then the accountability has to be transparent, not biased, so that each and everyone has to pay taxes, each and everyone has to get equity, equality. And then their demographics, they have to put everyone in a position that they can access health.
Who is this? Excuse me. Nani we ameingia hapa? Ukiingia una mute tafadhali. I don't know what's happening with your network, Trisha. Your network is not good.
Trisha has a bad network.
Yeah, hi DDM. What's up?
Hi Diana. Diana, what I can say, you have said everything that I was on my mind. All I can say, the youth of Kenya that are in Kenya and everybody that is in Kenya, do not relent, do not be bought off. Continue. Let's continue until this government, until Ruto must go. That is the only solution. I don't see any other solution. He must go. Zakayo must come down. There's no other solution. That is budget cuts. We all know that is not going to happen. That will never happen. We all know. And he will never even accept that the police are on the wrong side. He will never accept. Yeah, anaona tu mwananchi wale vijana wali protest, the protesters are the ones who are on the wrong side. Yeah, ataona ati their police wake walifanya makosa. So Ruto must go. That is the only solution. There is no other solution. We need new people on that seat. People who represent the youth, people who represent the interest of the common wananchi. And the people in the diaspora, please help the kids that are wale wanaabductiwa, wale wameshikwa. Let us help them.
Guys, those of you telling me to go to Twitter, I'm on Twitter. But listen, each and every space, there are youths, there are millennials that are representing in those spaces. I am on TikTok to also talk, tafadhali. It is okay. Tuko already na representation kwa Twitter, guys. If all of us are in Twitter, what about the awareness on TikTok? What happens to TikTok? We need the voices of women and men on TikTok too, because not many people are talking about these issues on TikTok as they should. So it's okay. There are people who are going to be on Twitter, there are people who are going to be on Facebook, and then there is us on TikTok. Ruto akitaka kuja TikTok atatupata hapa. Tutamuongelesha hapa na we'll call him out here. If he wants to go on X-Space, atapata watu wa X-Space huko. We must spread all over the place. Kila mahali. Hata Telegram tukitaka wenye wanaweza ingia huko waingie. This awareness cannot be in one place. It has to be everywhere. So hapa TikTok, sisi tuko hapa. This is the space that we are using anybody on Twitter will use that space, and we welcome the voices and the spaces for everybody so that we spread out everywhere, because hii injili lazima tuipeleke kila kona na kila mahali. Ruto must go. Ruto must go home. Ruto is a liar. Na kutoka leo mnafaa kumuita Ruto fertilizer potato. Hiyo ndio jina yake. Ruto fertilizer potato. Before Baba Joy tuongee na huyu Gen Z alikuwa hapa from before Baba Joy. Gen Z, hebu sema kitu. Kuna watu kwa guest. We need other people to come up. Gen Z, can you say something?
Dana, let me drop for somebody else.
No, it's okay. Okay, so
if you let me say something and then drop for someone else also. Okay. The problem is not about potatoes. The problem is not about potatoes and I don't know what. Himself, he also has farms in Congo, Rwanda, where he imports the maize right after the farmers are suffering and people are hungry. So he should stop that rhetoric. It's not about that. It's about the expenditure and realistic about our money and collecting taxes that are going nowhere but into people's coffers. That is the problem. Wacha nishuke mtu mwingine akuje kwanza, nitapanda baadaye.
Thank you so much, guy. Thank you. This man keeps talking about potatoes and housing. Like that is what we even asked him. Aya, ongea Baba Joy. Alafu Bubbles.
Alo, vipi?
Poa.
Tutakuwa na 2 years president, Hiyo itakuwa kwa katiba. Ruto must go.
Thank you. Aya, nani Bubble songea.
Yes, hi Diana, this is Means. Now, there's something that he kept high. There's something that he keeps on. Even the other day, he repeated this matter of in his village there are about 500 young people that didn't have a job, but little did they know that he has tried to get them jobs in Saudi Arabia, right? Now, my question is, you have taken your child to the university. You can imagine maybe 4 or 3 years of studies. How much have you spent? A lot of money. Don't you think there is something that in economics that is called brain drain? Yeah, brain draining.
Thank you.
That means as a parent, you have taken your kids to school and you have spent a lot of money for that kid to have some certain skills, or maybe being a lawyer or doctor or any other skill. Now, the kind of people who are being sent, you might find people who are very well educated who are sent to Saudi Arabia, not for professional jobs, but for labor. Now, think about this term brain drain. It's a term that is for economics. Watu wa economics wananielewa. And it is whereby for the national income, it's a loss. The income incurs only in Saudi Arabia because these kids are paid maybe per month 30,000, 50,000, yeah? So can you make that money? I mean, if your mother or your father educated you for maybe 4 years and you spend maybe 150,000 per year, how much is it really making sense about the labor? Kwa hivyo anaenjoy watu na kudanganya watu ati ni watoto wamepeleka nini Ulaya. So he's not even making good deals with those countries that, hey, my people, I'm bringing this labor to your country. How much money are we going to get as a country? Make a deal.
Yani, unajua nini? Labor.
Yes.
Labor trafficking.
Exactly.
That is what he's doing. He's labor trafficking. Imagine that una export watu kwenda kumake to less than 30K.
Exactly. That is called what we icon wanajua inaitwa brain drain. It's a term.
And apart from brain drain, it's also labor trafficking.
Exactly.
Because you are moving people from one place where you actually can make the situation and the economy better and create jobs as a president who is the custodian of the livelihoods of your citizens, and you are moving them to go to Kenya. There are people in Kenya who are employed who get 26K. Why would you move a Kenyan from Kenya and take them to another country to labor and bring taxes and income to another country for a harder job?
Exactly.
Seriously. Huyu mtu anahitaji nguvu.
So that income they earn, it's an income that is incurring in some countries, not our country. Huwa mtu ameharibu.
Yani,
he does not make good deals with other countries.
You guys,
Secure for Kenyans. And don't forget, these kids also, they're going to horrible environments.
Listen, that's what I'm telling you. It's trafficking, you know,
Yes.
because it's labor trafficking. You are taking this person to an environment where they are gonna have to look for a new livelihood. Wanaenda kwanza kuadjust, alafu pesa pia ni kidogo. Na wamewacha watu nyumbani wanawategemea. Tell me you are earning 30,000, you are sending money to 4 children at home. Utalipa nini pali unaishi? Utalipa nini? Utakula nini? Guys.
Yeah. That was my point. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gracie, I was about to highlight that.
No, let's talk of fake fertilizer. Anatuambia story ya people, watu analeta, we import ngwashe, sweet potatoes from other countries to Kenya, when actually him himself is giving us fake fertilizer here in Kenya. He'd rather sell the fertilizer at 6,000 than giving us the fertilizer at 2,500, but the fake one. Do you know how many people have not planted this season? So many people have not planted this season. Then I talk of the GDP. That is at about 100 trillion US dollars.
Trillion US dollars, guys. You guys.
Dollars.
Do you even know?
Yes.
Do you know Kenya's GDP, guys? Are you aware? Do you know that we are at around 114 trillion dollars? Nyi watu. We are going down, guys. This man needs to go. This man needs to go home. Nawambia. If we don't do something, Kenya is going to go into a very dark place. Tuko vibaya. Nimewambia hapa. And that's why I keep on telling you guys, jameni, na sio kwa ubaya. Sit down. Look at how and where we are as an economy. Muangalie tunaelekea wapi. And this is why this man was so desperate to tax people heavily. Because tunaenda chini. Tuko down. If nothing is not done within this year, nimewambia, tutakuwa place mbaya sana, because when we get to be in a place here we cannot even manage ourselves and our livelihoods and put food on the table, the crime rates are gonna go high, there'll be no jobs, literacy, education levels will be going down the dogs, and then we'll start eating each other. That's what's going to happen, guys. And I think we just need to open a live and talk about Kenya and where we are financially. Let's talk about the numbers. And we need to bring you facts so that you understand where we are coming from. Why Ruto really needs to go. And what has happened in the past 10 years, we move. Ndio muelewe. Tuko vibaya. We are not in a good place. We are not. And thank you everybody for coming, guys. I feel like I just need to end this live now because I'm really getting like I'm upset.
Dana, wacha niongee.
Naweza sema kitu moja Diana before. Please.
Yeah, ongea.
Dana.
Mimi naweza sema tu hivi, the most important thing saa hizi, as much as we say huyu jamaa lazima aende, lazima tuanzie mahali. Na mahali tunaweza taka tu watu waanzie ni kurecall all the MPs that said yes. Tuanzie tu kwa mashinani saa hizi kuitisha tu impeachment ya hao watu as we go and as we wait for Ruto to do whatever we want him to do. So lazima tuende mashinani to recall all the MPs. We don't need to wait until 2027. Constitution inatukubalia. We can do that. So please, let's go like warriors. Let's recall them right now. We don't need to wait for 2027. Watu wenye wanataka kungoja 2027 hawajui constitution. Lakini kama tunajua constitution, all those MPs were yes, we need to recall them. Na ndio sasa tukiwatoa, huyu jamaa sasa hata kuwa na mtu wa parliament wa kumsupport, si ni ukweli? So please, let's do that. Let's recall them. Let's call for impeachment. Let's do this.
Oh, that's good. Ani game. Now, mimi yangu ya kumalizia ni, how do we even convince Gen Z Those people, they got free education from President Kibaki, an economist. So how are you going to convince them? Walisoma wakaeka degree zao kwa nini drawer? What are you telling them? Umigrate majobs zao, I mean skills zao huko nje. That is so unfair. That is labor trafficking.
He wants to talk. He wants to have a conversation. Ruto always wants to talk.
Yeah, we need to have some people who are challenging him. Seriously.
But what challenging him for what? We don't need to challenge him. We simply need him to leave so that we can have a whole new parliament and a whole new president. That is all.
This guy has
we want younger people.
They have taken the hotels industry, ako farming, ako sijui wapi, everything. Hatuwezi hata penetrate even wakulima wandogo, the small farmers.
But you saw his attitude today. And what people are concerned about, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care even for the kids.
Even I thought that he would even say that for the people who have died, he would like to know and meet the families of the people who have died and lost their children. This guy does not care. He doesn't care.
Seriously. It is a high time. It's a high time. Ruto must go.
Hajali. It's not even in his interest.
Yeah.
He loves the policemen more. He cares about the police and the constitution. Sick man. Guys, thank you very much for being here. I think we need to talk about Kenya's economy. Shujaa, pole. Woi. Guys, by the way, before trending, guys, follow trending. Can you please follow trending? This account called trending. Muifollow hii account yetu, ikifungwa tutapata mahali ya kuingia nayo live. Hii account inaitwa trending.
Wacha ni follow.
Please follow trending, guys.
Wacha ni follow. Nimesha follow. Mimi Diana nilikuwa nikisema wakati Ruto alikuwa anafanya his campaign, he used to say that the government itakuwa ni ya mwananchi, things zitashuka chini. But for me, as a parent who is taking care of a special needs kid, I can really say the government ya Uhuru na hii government ya Ruto, tuseme for example, I can compare ni bei ya madawa. Saizi bei ya dawa, it's double. For whatever we just used to buy, tuseme kama ni 2,000, say you need to top up another 2,000 ndio upate anticonvulsant. Anticonvulsants are becoming expensive day by day. Na mimi sijawahi sikia mahali kwa speech yake even a single day akiongea about special needs kids, about their needs, about their diapers, about therapy, about anticonvulsants. Life is becoming difficult day by day. As we know, unapata most parents, unapata ni mothers who are left to take care of their kids, and going to work is not easy. Unapata many parents, they do resign their jobs to be full-time caregivers. So Ruto ametufinya sana. Our life it's most training. Kwanza upande wa madawa anafaa sana. Even as parents, we should be given anticonvulsants for free. But let me tell you Diana, hata ukienda Kenyatta ukwe admitted ama nini, lazima ununue dawa. This medicine we should be given free because hizo madawa ndio watoto wetu lazima watumie.
Thank you,
even if you are admitted, lazima ulipe bill Diana. Taking care of a special need baby si rahisi, na that topic ni kama imesaulika kabisa. The same way people living with TB, people living with HIV and AIDS, they get their medicine for a long time because hiyo ni kitu ya long time. It's the way our kids also should be included in that program ndio wapatange hizo madawa free. Sahizi
even affording inakuwa ngumu, affording diapers and medicine imetulemea kabisa kabisa kabisa.
Okay, thank you so much. Meskia, my dear. We are not in a good place. That's just the truth. And hopefully this revolution would make things change for us. So for all of those who came here, those who came to tap, those who gifted, those who are here as guests, I appreciate you. And I thank my moderators for doing a good job as usual. Asanteni sana. And I beg to leave and tutakutana mbele. Asanteni sana. Ebu, keep on following this trending. Keep on following trending. Keep on following trending. Please follow trending for me, guys. It's like an account we will use when things go bad for us. Please follow trending. Juu saa ingine hizi accounts zinafungwangwa zote mpaka tunakosa hata account ya kutumia. Please follow. Bye bye. Thank you, Gracie, so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Bye, Shuja. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Keep following.
So thank you so much, guys, for viewing this video. Thank you for watching to the end. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and put on the notification bell so that you're notified anytime I post a new video. Thank you so much, and I'm going to see you on my next video. Goodbye.